Okay.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Borough of Englewood Cliffs Mayor and Council Caucus Meeting. Today is August 14th, 2019. I call the meeting to order at 6:35 p.m. Rose Weber is filling in for Lizette Duffy, our municipal clerk. Thank you, Rose. Appreciate it. I know you've had a long day already. Thanks for being here and taking care of this. So I just called the meeting to order. Would you do a roll call, please?
Sure. Mayor Kranjak?
Here.
Councilpersons Wu?
Here.
Song? Sabari?
Here.
Park? Aversa?
Here.
O? Here. Borough Attorney? And myself.
Thank you. Councilwoman O, where is here for you right now?
On the phone.
Councilwoman O? Hello? Councilwoman O?
Hello?
Hi, you answered here. Where is here for you right now?
I just moved today, Mayor. Okay, I'm at home.
Okay, is that an Englewood Cliffs?
Yes.
Okay, Madam Clerk, would you please read the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
Adequate notice of this meeting was given to the press and posted as required. Date and time of this meeting was legally given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act. This notice is on file with the municipal clerk and posted on the bulletin board. Minutes of this meeting will be made available to the public upon the completion of typing and proofreading by the municipal clerk.
Okay, thank you. We have some closed session items to go into closed session for. So can I have a motion to do that, please? Can I have a second, please?
Should we wait for the attorney, or attorney? Or we going?
Borough attorney knows what time we start, so in my practice, I show up when I'm supposed to be here.
That wasn't the question.
I don't think we need to wait. I saw Mr. Serenian here, who is the attorney in some of these matters. When Mr. Marinello decides to show up, we could open the door for him.
You have a second?
Thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
I didn't hear enough ayes there. Are you an aye? All right, that's fine. Okay. So, Madam Clerk, could you please read into the record the appropriate language for us to go into closed session?
Yes. Whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs have deemed it necessary to go into closed session to discuss certain confidential matters. Whereas the minutes of this closed session will remain confidential as permitted under the Open Public Meetings Act, or shall be released when there is no further need for confidentiality, as authorized by the borough attorney. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs will go into closed session for the following matters as permitted under the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12: closed session pending litigation. In Ray Borough of Englewood Cliffs, docket number BBR-L-6119-15, affordable housing. Number 2, 800 Sylvan Ave versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs, Mayor and Council and Planning Board, docket number 69-18. Renault Paul versus Kranjak, Borough Council, 006679-18. Tracy James versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs, BER-L 005969-18. Kranjak versus Council of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs, 000300-19. McMorrow Carroll versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs, Duffy, 000954-19. McMorrow Carroll versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs, Duffy, 0020002-19. Eastwood versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs, Duffy, 2671-19. McMorrow Carroll versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs, Duffy, 3578-19, Eastwood Lauren versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs, Duffy, BER-L-003751-19, D. Gregoria David versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs, 003911-19, O'Shea Mary versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs, Duffy, 4100-19, McMorrow Michael versus Chalkley Michael, 4251-19, McMorrow Carroll versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs, Duffy, 4481-19, Kranjak versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs, Luncheon Duffy, 4786-19, McMorrow Carroll versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs, Duffy, 5511-19, Kranjak versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs, Affordable Housing, Serenian and Wunsch, 6119-15, Englewood Cliffs, PBA Local Board 5 versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs, 4240-18, McMorrow Michael versus Tracy, 5013-16, and McMorrow Carroll versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs, 8227-17.
Thank you. Sorry. For the public, we'll be in there for at least half an hour. Can I have a motion to come out of closed session? All in favor? So I thank the public for your patience. We had closed session. We had to go over some issues in private with attorneys, and we're running late. We will open the meeting to the public for comment now. We will also open during the regular meeting, which will start about 5 minutes after this one ends. You can speak now, or you can speak later. You can speak at both if you wish. Okay? Can I have a motion to open to the public? All in favor? Okay, if there's anyone from the public who wishes to be heard, please raise your hand. And then just come up to the microphone. Yes, sir, come on up. State your name and address. Thank you.
Hi, Mayor and everybody. My name is Frank Wang. I'm from 34 Stephen Drive. I'm here with my neighbor, and we're here and try to raise awareness for the issue we have on our street, which is the flooding issue we have every year. A lot of you might not have even heard about it, but this is affecting our street for the past 20 years probably, 25 years since you were here. So every time when there's big rain in the town, I know that, there are few places that might get flooded, but our street is extremely, it's a bit extreme. I have some picture here to show you guys so you guys can see. I don't have a good printer, but so this, I have no. We have one incident from 2018, one from 2017. So you can see it's like a river out there. Not many neighbors come out and speak about this because up till there's not too much property damage until 3 years ago, as far as I know. Sandy's basement got flooded from time to time. My basement got flooded once. My neighbor, which this one, 30 Stephen, they were not able to come out today. Their whole basement got flooded, because the water backfilled. They have a lower driveway. So it seems it happens around once or twice every year. Sometimes it's less severe, sometimes more severe. I had a text map printed out showing you where, so the orange T on Lynn Drive in Jing'an is all the catch bases that come out to us through the easement between Sandy's property, 49 Stephen, and 45 Stephen, to Stephen Drive. You see like the angle? And then come to that catch base, and then all the water from Stephen Drive in that pink area, they come together, they go to Lori, and then they go to Robert. So we're taking all the water from 3 streets and, you know,
So what I'll do is I'll contact our director of DPW tomorrow, but also our borough engineer.
okay. Yeah, DPW is actually aware of the issue. We are not asking you guys to resolve this tomorrow. We want to raise awareness first, and also maybe we can get the engineer involved and see what options we have in addressing it.
Okay. I'll do that tomorrow, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public who is here? Yes, sir.
Heyman Mehta from 75 Roberts Road. I had questions, just two questions. One in terms of our experts, which we have hired for this affordable housing litigation. Do we know if they really litigated? Because from what I saw or I heard, basically, that most of the cases have been settled. So they're really capable of litigating, and instead of just doing paperwork and then just coming to some kind of settlement. In bankruptcy, there's hardly any litigation, and I must have participated in a lot of bankruptcy cases, my company, but most of the things just get settled, and there's hardly any litigation. So that was one. I do not know if the council knows anything. And then number two, my next question was, have we approached other cities or towns in Bergen County together? Because when I was looking at and trying to understand how the shares are, means how many, units you have to put up, it's not only municipality, but you also have to do regional calculations. And I believe that ours would be a Bergen County calculation. Means you have to get everybody involved together. So, as a town, has anybody approached other town to see if they have litigation to maybe join hands? That's it.
So to answer your first question, do we have litigators who are going to litigate? Yes, we do. We have a litigation firm who, now that this council has pivoted and gone back to what I view as where they should have been for 8 months, fighting this. It's not politics. It's facts. Facts have no feelings. You guys didn't do anything for 8 months.
That's not true.
So they are going to fight. I've demanded that they fight. Certainly, the law firm representing Normandy does not hold back to the point where they actually lie fully in their documents. One gentleman was here. He's over there now. He was literally trying to listen in on our meetings. He was sitting right against the wall about an hour and a half ago, and now he's over there for a reason. But this is the tactic, right? Forget about respecting attorney-client privilege, communications. His ear was up against that wall, and I thank the resident that told us that he was doing it. In terms of calculations, I believe I believe our professionals are aware of the regional numbers, or however it works, and that's all I could say right now because of the litigation. I thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Good evening, good evening. Dave DiGregorio, 165 Charlotte Place. Regarding the flooding, I'd like to say a couple of comments, and I think that the zoning or the planning board, or I know that Morrow has flooding also, and I've always seen these parking lots up on Sylvan Avenue, and basically when they're paved, you seal them, and there's no absorption whatsoever. So I think moving forward, there should be some kind of modification in the codes to have more absorbable pavement, where the water won't come rushing down into houses, because you've got, if you take a look at all that pavement up there, it's basically, I mean, the water goes downhill. And if it has no place to go, or if it's not going to be absorbed, you're going to have problems.
So that's actually a good point. What happened on Morrow Road is actually when they calculated the storm drain system for the residential area going down the hill, they did not take into consideration the fact that there's runoff from the commercial properties above. So the system was fully charged before it could do anything. It was overwhelmed. And so, people were talking about, and they should do this, is actually consider putting a catch basin in to stage the water when there's a heavy storm, so it doesn't just fully charge the system right away. And they literally had manhole covers blowing off in that street a couple of years ago. My administration did sue the engineer. This council settled. They dropped the lawsuit.
Your attorney settled, the attorney that your administration hired.
The council told them to settle. The attorneys don't do...
No.
So,
Are you finished? Hold on. The attorneys don't do anything unless the council directs them to do it. You directed them to stop the fight right before trial.
That's not true.
Right, so
That's not true.
it is true, and it's going to cost the borough more money. Absolutely.
No. That's a
Absolutely.
false narrative.
Go on.
okay, well, it seems like there's a lot of false narratives going on here in this town. And it's unfortunate that people don't have the courage to admit and be honest. And I think that's one of the reasons why there's a lack of... That's why this town distinguishes itself in a very bad way. And, but getting back quickly to the porous surfaces, I think that's something that needs to be looked at. You can have beautiful parking lots looking a lot better. That would be porous. Getting to this affordable housing issue, I think it's very important to remember that these problems started at a particular time when the administration was very distracted by other things and didn't keep their eye on the ball. And as I understand, and I've said this before, and it should be said again, that if the planning board had not turned down Normandy, we would not be in a situation that we're at now. And I think that there's been a lot of deception and dishonesty regarding that. So I would appeal to the people that have made certain decisions and voted certain ways to have the courage to step up and be honest. Don't be cowards. You'll be respected if you have courage. You'll be respected if you apologize. If you make a mistake, man up or woman up and apologize. That's my way of moving. And I think that's the way this town would move forward. I also think that sitting down with Normandy, behind every corporation there are people. And I think deep down, people want to do the right thing. And I think this town should do the right thing. And we've had a spat of burglaries, car thefts. I think in a society where you have more of an even distribution of wealth, not to say that people should not be rich, they work hard and contribute, sure they should be. But that's evidence we have a very uneven society, and this town has an opportunity to do something very innovative. Affordable housing, let's do it differently. Let's sit down and come up with something that is really different and good. It's going to help people that aren't making $400,000 a year, that are working really, really hard. Let's give them a nice home in Englewood Cliffs, and not a wooden shack or these wooden condominiums that they throw up. And let's team up with Normandy, and let's do something right, and let's distinguish ourselves as a community for having a heart and for being generous and for doing something right that other towns probably wouldn't have the courage to do. Again, this problem was caused, I feel, in my opinion, by taking the eye off the ball and having vengeance instead of vision. The planning board screwed up big time. I probably would have done the same thing, but at least the planning board, those that voted against, should say, we made a mistake. They would be respected by everybody in town, and they would be forgiven, I'm quite sure. So it's about time that people man up, woman up, be honest, have the courage to be honest, don't deceive, don't politicize. My God, it's a little town. It's a pinprick when you compare it to the whole world. It's a big deal, being mayor. It's nothing. It's a servant. You're a servant. We're all servants. We should all be servants. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your socialist manifesto with us. You're done.
Excuse me.
You're done. No, you're done.
Excuse me.
The police...
That's very disrespectful.
No, that's what you did.
No.
So anyway...
You do not get away
You sit down.
with demeaning me like that.
That's what you did.
You do not get away with that. That's wrong, and again, that's the problem with this
What
town.
you preach. Go
You
write a check.
are the problem.
You need the check, okay? Go write it right now. Go ahead.
Don't do that.
Go write a check to
Do
someone.
not demean
Go do...
people.
By the way, I raise food...
I have a heart. You don't.
Well, here, let me ask you a question. I ask for food donations every meeting. We collect food out there. Did you bring anything today?
It's a shame that we have to have food donations in this town.
Right, but we do.
In
So
this country.
did you bring
Nobody
anything?
should
Did you bring anything?
be,
You can still bring
hungry.
it. Go home and bring it back.
No.
Now, let me set the record, let me set the record straight.
You call me a socialist? Fine.
Can you get the post?
If it
You're getting tossed out.
that people are not hungry, that's
He's not
good.
getting tossed.
You're getting tossed out.
No.
So listen, just for the record, the Mount Laurel doctrine that requires affordable housing came into existence in 1976. Okay? I was 11 years old. I am not responsible for the fact that from 1976 through the beginning of my term, there was not one single unit of residential housing built for affordable housing purposes. Okay? Councilman Aversa was on the council since 2012. He didn't do anything about it. Mayor Parisi and his father were mayors for 42 years. They didn't do anything about it. Now, what I did do, though, is I did bring our town into compliance. We are in compliance. We had a plan, and it's going forward. So, we are solving the affordable housing problem.
You're not solving it. All along.
Well, the answer, though, however, since January 3rd, when Deborah Sabari and Ed Aversa took over the control of council, their answer was to just surrender the town to Normandy.
No, that wasn't our...
Yeah, you guys signed an MOU
Our
to surrender the town. Did you sign an MOU? Okay. Anybody else wishing to be heard? Yes.
Lauren Eastwood, Four Willow Drive. With regard to the drainage problems in the north end of town, I believe those date to the date of the development, because I know from someone who was an original owner that the storm drainage system up in the north end was not put in according to plan, and they did major remediation work on Willow Drive because of complaints from residents at that time. There are two huge pipes in Willow Drive. So it may be a design problem dating back to the 50s and 60s. I'd also like to point out that Normandy's attorneys requested information about our COA compliance and our affordable housing obligations a month before they ever began their presentation to the planning board.
Thank you. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the history of the Normandy litigation on affordable housing, Normandy came in front of our planning board after they bought 800 Sylvan from Unilever and certified under penalties of perjury that they wanted to renovate a commercial building, and they asked for a subdivision, which our planning board denied. There was no right to have a subdivision. And in fact, it was very clear through the record and through what we've heard, which will be proven at trial, that they basically perjured themselves. They never intended to do commercial. They always wanted to do residential there. Anybody else?
You're this town with your
Yes, sir.
speeches and your comments.
That's the litigation.
Yes.
God, just shut it.
Hi, my name is Sandy Aldine, 49 Stevens Drive. This is something having to do with the flooding as well. I've noticed in my neighborhood, there have a lot of people put their garbage either on top of the catch basin or right next to the catch basin. When it rains, if they're there, it floods, it blocks up the catch basin, so if it does have any kind of drainage, which is very little on our block, but in the neighborhood, I've seen people do that. Is there any way of creating an ordinance or a ruling or something that you cannot put like 10 feet at least away from the catch basin?
You know, what we could do is, let's do an email blast to the town. Probably easily solved. I mean, because it hurts them as well if they're
People
clogging
don't
up.
care though. I've
Yeah.
actually asked certain people, and
Well, and the email blast, we're going to mention that. We're also going to mention that I've been finding nails everywhere in the roads as I run and walk. And, contractors and people who are working need to pick up these nails because it hurts them just as much as it hurts everyone else also. So I think maybe we'll just have a friendly email go out to everybody.
okay, like the
Yeah.
garbage and the recycling, and if nothing happens from that, then maybe the town needs to move forward on something more official.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Yes, sir. You know what, sir, we have a rule, you can only get up at once to speak. You can have another opportunity at our regular meeting, though.
I'm talking about a different topic.
I know, yeah, it's a one-time thing. I have to do it consistently for everybody, but you're welcome to stay. Anybody else wishing to be heard? Okay, can I have a motion? I don't see anyone else. Can I have a motion to adjourn, actually, to close the public portion? All in favor? And can I have a motion to adjourn the caucus meeting? All in favor? Okay, we're going to start our regular meeting in about 5 minutes, okay?